everyone, and welcome back to another week here at the Damage Report, still under lockdown. It is week 92, and I am really feeling the effects. And going into each week, sometimes the news is very dark. This time the news is pretty hilarious, so I'm really looking forward to it. And what better situation than news ripe for mockery and a woman who is among the best at mocking, Francesca Fiorentini. How's it going?
What's up?
It's great to have you here.
Oh, it's good to be here. Yeah, John, it's all funny. I mean, it's dark and sad and evil, but also hilarious.
That's true. Yeah, it's not like, we have bad news too. I will grant you that. But, I mean, if you are a person who watches a show, is familiar with us, and has, decided, I'm going to watch a show live today. If you don't know what is going to make up a good portion of the show, then you don't know me, man.
You don't even know me.
Exactly. So, of course, we're going to be talking about the rally some, but that's not all. We're also going to be talking about, the continued weeding out of literally anyone doing any investigations in the Trump administration. So the Berman firing, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be giving you an update on coronavirus and its current spread, because it is going up fast in a number of different states. We're going to give you information for that. Related to that, I wouldn't want to waste an opportunity to plug something that John Oliver has done. So if you haven't already, watch his episode from this Sunday, which is about coronavirus in the prison population. Very well done, not talked about enough. So definitely take a look at that. And, Kimberly sends in a super chat saying, great to hear you'll be on the Bitchuation Room.
Yay, that's my podcast.
How did Kimberly know that I was...
I announced it on the podcast.
The
Bitchuation Room, every Sunday. Listen, John's going to be on next week.
I was worried that our mics had been hot because we talked about it, but I was like, wait, how did they heard that? Anyway,
apparently there was another super chat that wanted us to have hot mics. They want to bring back hot mic.
There is. So, sometimes accidentally on Fridays the mics are hot. But the thing is, like, Francesca and I don't talk on a daily basis all the time. Like, we have a limited amount of time to catch up. And I like having that time private, Like, catch up a little bit.
And a minute of talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and a minute's probably about enough. But anyway, we're going to have the whole hour. Should be pretty awesome. Everyone who's already here in the chat room, thank you so much for being here. Please hit the like button to let me know that you are alive, and to let other people know that the stream is alive, because you can't trust YouTube to do that for us. And you're really going to want to buckle in, because this is going to be a cool show. We have so much to talk about that we're going to jump into in just a minute. We're going to be ending with a Lincoln Project ad that I just really hope that Donald Trump watches, because it is just going to get under his skin, which is a lot of fun. But anyway, before all of that, why don't we jump into the news, and we'll, of course, be checking in with people's super chats and comments and tweets and Twitch comments and all of that as we go. But with that, Francesca, you ready for this?
Absolutely.
Donald Trump has been eager as hell to get back on the rally trail. He wants to be surrounded by his adoring fans. And on Saturday, he was, for the first time in months. But not necessarily as many of them as he expected to. See, the arena that he spoke in seats 19,200 people, but fewer than 6,200 came. Which is not a lot when you've been advertising for weeks now that 1 million people have signed up. See, he wanted to fill in that 19,000 seats. He also was expected to give a second address to a crowd of more than 40,000 additional people in an outdoor overflow space. But after a report from staff that the area held only a couple dozen people, there are dozens of us, hours before the event, that speech was canceled. Now, before we launch into our discussion, I do want to let you know that while most of the numbers were much lower than he would have wanted, there is one set of numbers that is higher than anyone should want, and that is that Oklahoma reported 331 new cases of coronavirus infection on the day of the rally, including 6 members of Trump's campaign advance team that tested positive for the virus. So, look, there's going to be a lot of... It's the perfect... It's nurse's kiss. Mwah. Okay, so initial reaction, we had been expecting this to be a disaster, but I had been expecting it to be a well-attended disaster.
Absolutely. Yeah, if it's going to be a super spreader event, make it super, just sort of like a middling super
Yeah.
spreader event, which obviously I think that the left and Democrats cannot get too excited about how low the attendance was for the rally, because honestly, if it had been packed, we would have been criticizing him anyway. The fact that it wasn't packed, we're
Totally.
criticizing him. So it's kind of
Totally.
on us. I mean, for me, I think it tests the limits of just how little science Trump voters will buy into, and whether, if the president says that down is up and up is down, whether they'll be like, totally,
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I actually think that, in fact, it might be a testament not only to his dwindling numbers, but I think to the fact that people who still will vote for him are like, chill, I'm not a roadie. I'm not a groupie. You know what I mean? I'm there with you. Like, I love the hits, but like I got them on, like whatever, my CD-ROM. I don't, what I mean? Like whatever they listen, like they can still watch him later. They'll watch it on YouTube. So I do think though that like the emblematic photo of this was the guy sitting amongst the blue seats,
by himself,
just in a sea of blue seats by himself
guy.
with a sign and a mask. And I'm like, see, I like that Trump supporter. Like that's the one that I'm like, at least you believe in science, because that's totally where you go if you want to enjoy the rally and also be safe.
Yeah, because he could have gone.
Hats off to that guy.
Exactly. He could have masks off to that guy. He could have gone and sat down in the crowd. He decided, no, there's plenty of room. I'm going to go sit up there. Yeah, I like that guy. And so there's a lot that I want to focus on. I want to touch briefly on the coronavirus thing, because as you say, if it had been well attended, we would have criticized him, and I think rightly so, particularly because of the whole coronavirus angle. So I'm still going to criticize him, because the lack of turnout was not his desire. He wanted to pack as many people as possible. And when we found out that the campaign was going to be handing out masks to everyone that came in, I thought, well, look, that is responsible. They're not, they're not encouraging people to wear them, but by giving it to them, that's sort of encouraging. And so look, this is them being responsible. We talked about this about a week ago, and I said, let's see if they wear them when they're handed a mask. And you identified that guy in the crowd. I am being completely honest. Aside from Trump campaign staffers, I don't know if I saw a single attendee actually wearing one. And I have a pretty good idea of why. It's not just that they believe that the coronavirus is made up, or if it's real, it's something to do with 5G. It's not just that. It is the social pressure of Trump fans on Trump fans to conform. And the reason I know that is because there was a lot of media at the event, and one member of the media was a woman who was wearing a mask. She was not from CNN, she was not from MSNBC, she was from Right Side Broadcasting, a pro-Trump network, and she was attacked as fake news for wearing a mask. She had to shout back to them, no, I'm not fake news, I love Trump. But think about that. If you show up at that rally, but you believe in science and you have on the mask, every single one of those Trump fans is going to jeer you until you take it off. And so, look, the plus side is that there weren't as many people, so it's maybe not going to be a super spreader thing. It is still thousands of people in close proximity, but not nearly as bad as 60,000. So, small miracles.
Yeah, I mean, I just live for Pink dunking on the numbers. Like, I filled that stadium in, I think I sold out that stadium. Bernie Sanders rally, which sold out that stadium. Yeah, maybe when you put together an in-person rally, people aren't going to show up. And the ones who do show up, let's just, at what point does Trump look out at this sea of sort of, I'm sorry, but toothless, literally toothless, just kind of heads bobbing, yawning, screaming.
A lot of yawning.
He spoke for over an hour, maybe almost 2 hours. What point do you look out at the sea and be like, these aren't the best people? When they're coronavirus is a Bill Gates 5G conspiracy, but also the measles vaccine made me gay, or whatever they believe about vaccinations. At what point do you look out and you're like, not classy? Even Trump's tactless, oh, I love the common man. If he's wouldn't let these people into Mar-a-Lago,
No, he would not. Yeah, no, to quote a modern day philosopher, when they're sending their people, they're not sending their best. No, that was Trump. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's turn now to Trump. We've given our reactions to the poor turnout of the Trump rally flop, as many people are saying. But it's not really, at the end of the day, our opinion that matters, because the rally wasn't about me, it wasn't about Francesca, it wasn't about the people at the rally even, it was about Trump. Now, what did he think? This sort of sums it up. I mean, he doesn't look happy, and when he unties his tie, look how long that tie is, you weirdo. To people who don't wear ties, it is not supposed to hang down on both sides that far. That is insanity. But anyway, that is a man defeated by what he saw. And reports are coming from inside the campaign now, confirming that he was not happy. According to NBC News, he was furious at the underwhelming crowd at the rally in Tulsa on Saturday evening. A major disappointment for what had been expected to be a raucous return to the campaign trail after 3 months off because of the coronavirus pandemic. And again, remember, the draw to people was, we're going to campaign mode. He's going to be taking on Biden. You haven't been able to go to a Trump rally in literally months. You haven't been able to go to almost anything in literally months. Now all of a sudden there's an event, and still very few people turned up. He was apparently fuming at his top political aides even before the rally began, when his campaign revealed that 6 members of the advance team had tested positive for COVID-19. He was apparently mad that had been allowed to dominate coverage of the rally before it started, when that story shouldn't have been dominating it. The fact that no one was there should have been dominating it. So I can understand why he'd be angry. But apparently, yeah, although the campaign is going to say that to the contrary, we'll have video of that in just a second, he apparently was not happy about this entire debacle, as you might imagine.
That photo looks like, it's like Wile E. Coyote when the TNT blows up in his face. Like, that exact moment, the little singe, like...
There's a little sad in this region, a little sad,
yeah,
not happy.
Or just like an action hero who ended up like killing the whole town rather than like the guy got away. Just like, oh, that's what I see. It's just like an action hero who drank water, who was able to drink water for the first time, but it still wasn't enough.
Oh, we're gonna have that
to save the town.
Exactly. So the question that I have for you is, will anyone pay for this? And if so, who? If anyone was going to, it seems like Brad Parscale would probably be the one, because, man, he has been strutting around the yard all happy with his million signups. And we're going to talk about why the signups were so high in a little bit. But people are saying that his job is safe internally, that Trump isn't that mad at him. But remember, just about a month ago, maybe a month and a half, when his polling started to turn down, there was a lot of news from inside that Trump was very mad at Brad Parscale over that he was going to sue him over his bad polls. And now the rally thing. And like, you can't stress this enough. There is nothing about being president that Donald Trump likes more than those rallies. That is why he is in this thing. Well, and to, steal countless dollars from, the
It's also because if they were all on Zoom, they wouldn't be able to get like the camera working. So, MAGA and Zoom don't work. It'd just be like they're under chin. They'd all be like, whatever, washing dishes too loudly. That's basically just me. But what I'm saying is it's different.
You're crazy. You're just crazy. Okay.
Let's
so continue.
Like let me just say a little bit about Brad Parscale, who like people are dunking on because he was like, 800,000 tickets sold. We're going to be well over 1 million, blah, blah, blah. Which, by the way, they should have just held it outdoors in the beginning. And they shouldn't have like closed down the overflow areas. They should have just moved it outside because that's actually safer in terms of, a pandemic or whatever. Brad Parscale scares me a lot. So I don't want to push him that far on social media because this guy knows where you live, who you vote for, what your middle name is, what your dog's middle name is. Like, this guy knows everything about you. He's basically been the link, I believe, between things like Cambridge Analytica and data mining from Steve Bannon and the right wing to the Trump campaign. This guy is the glue. This guy knows every single county. This guy knows every single swing voter. So I'm scared as hell of Brad Parscale. I'm just going to be totally honest with you. And I'm not sure if he shouldn't have to face the consequences or be in jail for some of the things that he's pulled when it comes to the mining of our data and the targeted and potentially sharing with the Russian government. We do know that Manafort, for example, shared polling data and county and precinct data with the Russian government. Was Parscale in on that? We don't know, because we can't get accountability for squat.
Well, and God knows this time around what Parscale, like the relationship with Zuckerberg is so fundamentally deceptive. The fact that he's like, we don't want to be an arbiter of the truth. Oh yeah, no, I did have a secret dinner with Donald Trump like a week ago that I didn't tell you about. Like, that sort of thing is going on. Yeah. And it's like, they abused Facebook so badly, and they didn't have the access back then that they have now. Now, Zuckerberg is courting them. Remember Zuckerberg, the guy that was like giving signs he wanted to run for president? He's now courting Donald Trump and likely meeting with Parscale.
Right.
But anyway, look, I want to just put a button on this whole anger thing. Look, we've asserted, Donald Trump's aides have asserted, that he was furious over the rally turnout when about 6,200 people showed up. To put it in perspective, I'm a literal nobody, and more people are watching the stream right now than attended his rally. But anyway, Kayleigh McEnany reassures us that Donald Trump wasn't actually mad. Take a look.
The president was not angry at all. The president was quite energized. I was with him after the rally. I checked in with him on Air Force One, and he was in very good spirits. Spoke with him again about the rally yesterday, and it got rave reviews.
So what I like about that is not just Kayleigh McEnany, first of all, saying he's not mad, which, okay, look, I'm sure there's different opinions based on the people that talk to Trump. Saying it got rave reviews, which, no, none, for the substance, it didn't get rave reviews, and all the conversation was about the fact that it was a massive flop. But juxtaposing it with the video of Trump, who I hadn't realized knew he was being filming. When I just saw the photo, I thought it was a long-distance thing. He's walking back home at night. But no, he was waving to the camera and then looking like his puppy had just bit him. Like, he looked
and there's a little moment where if you read his lips, he's going, "Oh boy." Like, there's a little "oh boy" in there. Mm-hmm. Watch it, catch it.
Exactly.
Can I just say that I love Kayleigh McEnany because Kayleigh McEnany is, if you translated the North Korean propaganda channel into English, what you would hear is like, the president was in the best spirits because he is the best spirited man on the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. Like, that is exactly. And I think it's funny that like Kayleigh is like the last stage of Trump, at least, fingers crossed. Because she really should have been the first one. Instead, it was like, who was it? It was Sean Spicer. Like, who is this dude? Like, put Kayleigh up there. She's, But it's almost like the more desperate you get, the bigger of a smile you put on your face, and like that is what the Trump administration is right now. So it's fitting, but I feel like they should have started with the smile,
You might be winning me over. I mean, when she started, I thought she's not going to be able to do it like Sarah Sanders did it. Because you gotta have that 1,000-yard Vietnam stare. And Sarah Sanders, what she sees, she doesn't like. What she is, she doesn't like. It's all dead. Whereas Kayleigh McEnany technically has emotions. They're like twisted in the, service of evil, but she has emotions. But yeah, maybe they need that sort of positivity. Maybe Trump wants that. But I will say one of the reasons I like that footage that we showed so much of him walking across the yard is exactly what you said. The fact that he sort of does the, whoo boy. Because Trump strikes me as a person that far too rarely in his life thinks deeply about what he's done, the position he's put himself in. That sort of introspection, I think, is important. You can go too far with it, but I think it's important for literally anyone, on our level to the most powerful people in the country. He doesn't seem like he does that enough. He might be in a moment like that. Now, I have no doubt that if anything comes of that moment, it will be pure evil and cruelty. But I think a little bit of introspection following the deaths of 120,000 people from coronavirus, let alone all the other things going on, seems like a good thing at this point.
Agreed. There's been very few moments where we've seen that, and I think we did a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little sorrow.
Just a little bit. Regret, perhaps. You risked people's lives for nothing.
Guys, if you feel, because you're human, you know, and you like have real human emotions and like empathy, which the right wing lacks, and you're feeling some sort of empathy for him, don't just quash that little emotion, that little empathy bug. I know a lot of progressives have it. Just get rid of it in this case. Remember, kids in cages.
That's true.
And yeah, that's all you have to do.
Yeah, kids in cages, massive expansion of drone strikes abroad, blocking, you know, countless tens of thousands of refugees from resettling in America. I mean, we could go on. The destruction of so many environmental standards
and 120,000 lives on his hands.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to say my gut says 80,000 of them didn't need to die. I think coronavirus looks bad enough, tens of thousands would have died. The vast majority probably wouldn't have if we'd shut down earlier and if we hadn't reopened prematurely. But we're going to get to that a little bit later on. But let's turn now to the story of the weekend, perhaps. Even more than the rally itself. Did Kpop kill Trump's rally? That is the question on everyone's lips. Is it actually... do they get the W for this? Because apparently, as part of a coordinated effort, Kpop fans and teenage TikTok users scooped up tickets to President Trump's Saturday rally in Tulsa, potentially leaving at least hundreds of empty seats. The New York Times reported. A tweet from the Trump campaign June 11th urged people to use their phones to register for the free tickets. The Kpop fans shared the information and encouraged their followers to get tickets and then not show up for the rally. The plan quickly caught on TikTok, where people followed the Kpop fans' lead. Apparently, there was also an Iowa grandmother, Mary Jo Lopp, who was leading part of the charge on the video platform. She posted a TikTok video last week encouraging people to go reserve the tickets and leave him standing alone there on the stage. So that's like not everybody, but most people's theory is that's what did it. Do you believe that, Francesca?
Look, I don't know how many K-pop bands there are, but I know that each of them has 16 members. And you multiply that by what I only assume is 70,000 K-pop bands. And plus TikTok. And I mean, unstoppable force. Like, I won't say a bad word about K-pop because I don't want to be dragged by the joy.
You don't want to be K-popped.
I don't want to be K-popped by the joy of synth music and lip syncing and bleach blonde hair.
Yeah, I will say...
let's be real. Shout out to all the Asians who know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I don't want to anger the K-poppers. The Popites? I don't know exactly what it's called. I also worry that I think I waited too long to get into it. I think it'd be weird if I got to do it now. I've like briefly listened to a little bit, and I think it's perfectly fine, but I don't listen to music. It's nothing against K-pop. But anyway, so all of that said, Popites, don't come for me. I don't think this is why his rally failed. I don't. It's a great narrative. I like it. And I have no doubt that that is why 1 million people signed up. And so that, no matter what, even if 19,200 people had packed the BOK, Tulsa Stadium, that would have made him look bad. And I think that K-pop and maybe that grandmother, they deserve the win for that. Totally. But that is not why people didn't show up. Because it was first come, first served. Yeah. And it was advertised in that way. And the Trump campaign is saying, they have two explanations. They're not buying the K-pop thing, but they're saying, look, either the negative media coverage leading up to it led people to not show up, or Antifa stopped people from getting in. Well, Antifa wasn't there. They didn't stop people. There's no video of thousands of people trying to get in and then being blocked. And the media coverage...
Although I do really think that the new name for Antifa should be K-Pop.
Okay, we'll put it up for a vote at the next Antifa meeting. AntifaCon. Get your tickets today. K-pop. First come, first served. Yeah, and the negative media coverage, that makes sense. Yeah, because for a hardcore Trump fan, the sort of person who'd go to a rally, CNN being against something is going to stop you from showing up, right? No, and like, even if you believed 1 million people, surely I won't get in. These people love tailgating more than the actual event. They were going to stand in an overflow place, knowing they couldn't get in. I don't believe it at all. They didn't show.
I think the only way, I mean, I think you're right. The only way that they could have done something is if the actual arena would say, no, you have 800,000 tickets reserved, and we're not, we're gonna cut it off here. I don't see the Trump administration doing that, like saying, no, we have to cut off the sales or the pre-registrations. No, they were ready for huge numbers.
Totally.
And I don't see the arena, which already agreed to hold the president's rally in the middle of a pandemic, also putting any restrictions on anything. I'm sure the agreement was, well, we'll give out masks, maybe people will wear it, whatever. What it did do was kind of make Brad look like an effing idiot, and that's great. Brad Parscale, the social media coordinator for Trump, and it made Trump look like an idiot and the whole team. So that is definitely a W. Not so much whether or not it was actually full, but just the overhype of it for sure.
Yeah. Now, look, I don't want to go on too long. This isn't my theory of why actually people didn't show up, but this is my hope that some of them, it got through to them. Yeah, maybe surrounding myself with all these people when there's a pandemic is a bad idea. Yeah. I know that's everybody in the audience is probably like, oh, John being naive. I hope that that's what it is. I really do. I hope that some of them thought, well, I can catch it on TV, honestly.
Exactly.
And it's pretty much the same thing. In fact, I'll probably have a better view. I hope that that's what it is. It might just be that he has less hardcore fans. I kind of doubt that. I feel like he's going to have big rallies during this election. And by the way, him not having big rallies, like I know some people are like, that's it, Biden's won. No, I don't buy that at all. You don't need to show up to a rally to vote. So, look, I think this is really interesting.
If there were one person at the rally, Fox News would still carry it live. It doesn't matter. And they did carry it live, and they'll continue to carry it live. So you're absolutely right. He's still a threat, even if he can't do rallies.
100%. Now, he's going to be, out of office, he's going to be a threat, and he's going to do a lot of damage. Let's get there first, and then we'll all meet up here or at AntifaCon, and we'll reassess. But let's get to that point first, everybody. Okay? Everybody get your masks, red and black. Let's scare some people. Okay. Look, with that, let's turn to a little bit of fun. How about that? We'll check in with the super chat in just a little bit, but let's turn to a little bit of fun. Oh, wait a second.
No, delay on fun.
This is my fault. If you're ever about to have fun, I'm going to ruin it for you. Ask my wife. Anyway, dun, dun, dun.
Not true.
Okay, let's turn now to this. Donald Trump has heard America's criticisms, not of his policies in virtually every area, but in how he drinks water, and he's not buying it. So take a look at this epic moment from Saturday's rally.
Another disease.
Hell yeah! I love this one! Chug, 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 chug.
That would have been good. Shout, chug. They were just cheering. He just drank water. Look, there's a lot that I don't know about the world, a lot of experiences I haven't had. Maybe it just feels really good. So, everyone at home, get ready to cheer. No. Anyway, look.
That wasn't a glass can. It's harder with glass.
That's a dog. And it's a mug. And yes, I am drinking Monster and coffee simultaneously. But anyway, okay, so why did he do that? Why did he sort of drink water normally? I mean, I would argue that was a pretty weird drink of water. No, it was because people have criticized him for having the second-hand boost. And so, I swear to God, he talked about the water and the ramp for more than 10 minutes straight. That sounds like a joke. It is not. It got so under his skin that he talked about it for 10 minutes straight. And that's not the amazing thing. The amazing thing is his fans liked it. They actually cheered. And they didn't just cheer, they went to social media to congratulate Trump for sort of drinking like a normal person. Ryan Fournier, who's a person with a check, says, President Trump is a legend. He just took a sip of water with one hand and threw the cup off the stage. I love this guy. Laughy face. Extreme laughy face. There was I believe this is a congressional candidate on the right, who said the degenerate left claimed Trump has health issues after drinking water with two hands. Today he drank with one hand and tossed the glass to the side. Greatest president ever. I don't know if that's supposed to be ironic or not, but it is sad either way.
First of all, I think it's ironic, for sure. Mm-hmm. But let's pretend it's not, because clearly they are triggered by anything. And look, this is the power of the media. Mm-hmm. And this is the power of Twitter. The fact that we made such a big deal of that water glass and you all thought it was stupid. Who cares? Who cares about the ramp? Don't talk about it. No, talk about it. You know what I think we should talk about? The fact that Trump wears diapers. That's right. He wears diapers. I've seen the bulge in his pants. You
Maybe
have
that wasn't
too.
Diapers.
You have seen the bulge in his pants too. Let's talk about it on Twitter. Tweet at the president. Do you wear diapers, brah? Because I've seen you in khakis and there's a bulge. Maybe at some point you should show us your undies. Prove that you don't wear diapers. We should tweet at the New York Times, man. We should talk about this. Get salon.com on it. Get Daily Beast. Is salon still a thing? The point is, get everyone on it. We need to start new rumors for him to disprove. You got small hands. Show us.
Donald
show
Trump.
it to us. Before you leave office, I want to see it. I can't
Trump
unsee it.
Held a dozen grapes in one hand. Best president ever. No. Look, obviously all of this is stupid. Every side of it. And I'm counting the side I'm on. All of it's stupid. But
it's
Jesus.
Not. It's brilliant. You can reverse psychology this fool into doing anything. Yeah. He will perform anything for you.
Yeah. And by the way, I want to be very clear. Like, adult diapers exist because they're needed. There's no shame on any of that. There's no shame on any of this for honest people who aren't just big balls of swollen cruelty. He lashes out at people constantly, professionally, for his career about these things that are true of him. And if he didn't do that, there wouldn't be any attacks. You think he's the only person with adult diapers in elected office in U.S. government? No, our average elected official is 83 years old. A lot of them are in it, but they don't
fine. Oh my God, why let's drop the stigma around adult diapers.
Exactly.
My president wears them. Oh my God, just like show us, Trump, show us, and be in solidarity with the incontinent community. You know, he does. That's okay. Tweet at him. It's okay. You are incontinent.
Incontinent.
Continent.
You don't know all your consonants.
You don't know all the consonants.
You don't know what continent you're on. I know all the words. I can go for a while. Anyway, I want to read one more tweet for you. And this was in reply to one of those Trump kind of drank.
How many beverages do you have, John?
I have 3,
for the love
actually.
of God.
Do you know how bad I have to go to the bathroom by the end of a TDR? Anyway, so I want to give credit to Ken Klippenstein, who responded to that Ryan Fournier tweet saying, "This is like a kid whose deadbeat dad visits him once a year but worships him because he pulled a quarter out from behind his ear." Just totally right. Everyone, follow Ken Klippenstein, both for his incisive tweets and also his amazing reporting. But anyway, yeah, God, our country is such a joke. Everything about it is such a joke. Anyway, Francesca, you want to just briefly touch base with seeing what's going on with Super Chat there? Okay, there was a comment from Jesus Was a Progressive who says, "Hey, John, I was just wondering if you ever played the board game Sequence." Yes, it's actually one of my wife's favorite board games growing up. We've played it many, many times.
Oh, I like Sequence. That's an old one.
You like Sequence? Yeah, it is. It's a very classic game. I like it. We should play sometime. Amanda says, "Is it Fantastic Monday?" Hi, John. Thank you. Very nice of you. Brad Gosser says, "Bring back pre-show hot microphone for the people." We will see. We'll see. We'll see. It's always an accident, by the way. It's
they grab him by the monster.
My God. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mandy Hop says, "We love you, John and Franny." Thank you, Mandy. Very nice of you. I don't want to read that. Nick the Unicorn says, Francesca, if you ever get bored with men, hit me up. Heart eyes face.
Wow.
Thank
It's
you for the offer.
that may very well happen.
Marty Hunt says, did you see Jim Jordan's face at rally? I actually didn't know that Jim Jordan was at the rally, but I'm sure he didn't see anything. He was looking the other way. He didn't see anything that happened. That's a reference to his college days. Charlie L says Matt Gaetz is a closet tool. He's just a tool.
Closet, yeah. No, it's very obvious.
Let's see. Trevor says, go John, more people than Trump had. Yeah, it's slightly different when it's in person versus stream, but thank you for the recognition. I appreciate it. Cyrus Lily says, greetings from Finland. Matt Gaetz is a huge tool. Thank you, Finland. Stay safe, Finland. I always say that. Stay safe, Finland. Dodo Bean says, I saved the video of his walk of shame for days when I'm feeling a little sad and need a pick-me-up. We all need those. I have some videos saved of Australian shepherds doing cute things. Anyway, with that, why don't we turn away from Donald Trump and to his fans, to the people who showed up at these rallies. And while I continue to vamp, hopefully I'm going to find the graphics I need. There we go. I think I got it. Okay, with that, let's jump into this. So for the people who did show up at Donald Trump's rally, what do they think about some of the issues he's addressing or not addressing, like coronavirus? Obviously showing up, there's a possible risk of being exposed to it. Are they worried? This one individual was not.
I'm not concerned about the spread. I think in the general population, I'm seeing like a 0.4 or 0.2% mortality rate.
Even if you got it, you're not worried about it.
No, and even if I did get sick from it, I mean, there's so many positive studies with the hydroxychloroquine and zinc combination.
The FDA got written. They said you can't prescribe it for that anymore.
No, the FDA is saying that it is able to be prescribed. They only shut it down for a certain thing. And actually, in Trump's roundtable the other day, they explained it very well.
Well, I wouldn't go to Trump for hydroxychloroquine information. That would be my first thing. But anyway, Francesca, what did you think about that individual's confidence in the face of a potentially lethal illness?
I just love the, grown man gives book report about book he hasn't read yet. Struggles through the FDA.
Yeah.
Just the federal doohickey.
I will give him credit that he has, to the extent that a person who doesn't live and breathe politics, or live and breathe is what we normally say. I would say now, you stand suspended in it up to your neck, the foul fluid that is our politics, that he believes he knows what the FDA is saying, which is a level of research that most people are not going to do. The issue is that he is wrong. The FDA last Monday withdrew emergency use authorizations for 2 coronavirus treatments that President Donald Trump promoted despite concerns about their safety and effectiveness. That's loading. After reviewing new information from large clinical trials, the agency now believes that the suggested dosing regimens are unlikely to produce an antiviral effect. Now, can you still get it? Potentially. If you can convince your doctor to give it to you for off-label use, it is possible. But literally all of the advice that we're getting from responsible bodies that are there to do this is, it doesn't treat this, it's not safe, and in fact, it could kill you. And to ignore all of that and go with, well, technically they didn't block me from getting it if I get the doctor to do sort of an end round. That is just searching for a reason to feel confident. And he still trusts Trump on this after everything.
No, I mean, not to mention the fact that it is actually taking, necessary medication out of the hands of people who have lupus, who are 100%. Suffering, and who need hydroxychloroquine to survive. That is proven to effectively help when you have lupus. And I've heard from doctors who say that they can't, and pharmacists who say that the prices have gone crazy, they can't source it, and that it's actually patients are suffering because of it. So, but as if that matters right now to Trump or his supporters, I just want to say, some people, you make fun of you get mad because we sort of make fun of the intellect and the fact that Trump voters are toothless, literally toothless. No, man, no. Because guess what? Racism is like you reap what you sow. When you go with an idiot racist president, what happens? Oh, you get mad at the only Muslim doctor in your rural ass town who's trying to give you treatment and you make him leave. There was a story that I heard just recently on this great show, Snap Judgment, that was all about that. This entire rural town magged themselves out of a doctor. Straight up. You maggot yourself out of a dentist. Why do you think that no dentists and doctors want to move to your crappy little town anymore? And I'm serious. I'm not saying all little towns are crappy, but like, this is a pathology, okay? You celebrate ignorance, you celebrate racism, you celebrate all these things, and guess what? You don't get Medicare for all. You don't get affordable things. You don't have education that's accessible. So you do it to yourself. You vote against your own interests enough, and I'm tired of playing this with like kid gloves on. Mm-hmm. Nah, man, you're ignorant. You sit in that crap.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like I understand, I saw a comment that was like, don't pick on this guy. We're not trying to pick on this guy. And by the way, the guy went up to the news to talk to the news. He wasn't like, they didn't bug his phone. But anyway, I get what you're saying. I don't care about any individual person. We're going to have another one for you in a second. This is out there, and it's consequential. We're going to be running through coronavirus case numbers later in the show for a number of different states. Now, they are rising for a number of reasons, but the lack of concern that so many people have, for one reason or another, that is the single biggest issue stopping us from dealing with this pandemic. And so I am going to take it seriously. Now, is he representative of everybody? Probably not. He's the most extreme sort of Trump fan, the kind of guy that even now would still go to a rally. But I've been so angry for months now about the right's successful campaign to convince people to not take this seriously, and hydroxychloroquine was a major part of that. We attacked Trump for that, but it wasn't originally Trump, and it wasn't just Trump. It was Fox News. It was Tucker Carlson. They are the ones that spread this initially, and look at what they did. Because they chose to spread that misinformation. That guy, who you're saying don't pick on, I would say they shouldn't have picked on him. They shouldn't have left him in a position where he won't defend himself and his family from this virus. But they did that. And we need to understand what country we dwell in, what we're facing.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's turn to another one of his fans. I am wondering, for the hardcore Trump fan, what, if anything, would lead them to stop supporting Donald Trump at this point? Now, I know what you're thinking. Absolutely nothing. And I think that you're actually right. But when you ask them, sometimes they come up with a thing that could lead them to stop supporting him. Here is one woman from the Tulsa rally, what she said would end her support for Donald Trump.
Is there anything that Trump can do that would make you lose your support for him?
Commit adultery on his beautiful, classy wife. She's amazing. She is what every American first lady should be.
Is there anything that...
I know what you're probably thinking. With that, wait. Wait a second. Didn't he? But that is interesting. Of all of the things, it's not, like, I don't know, something to do with Saudi Arabia or, I don't know. It's the adultery specifically. It's one of the things he is perhaps best known for outside of real estate.
Really good at it.
Through, like, he tried to brand himself for decades as a playboy that cheats on his wives. And she still thinks, well, I mean, if he ever crossed that line, that would be it. And so anyway, look, that was obviously not lost on the interviewer, who followed up with this.
Well, what about the Stormy Daniels thing? Because he was married to her at that time.
That was years ago before he ever became president. Nobody is accountable for what he done when he was a lot.
So she says no one's accountable for what they did when they were a lot younger. And I thought, well, okay, that seems ridiculous. But we do believe that the longer ago you did something, that should matter. And if he was much younger, maybe that matters. And so I looked into it. And the affair allegedly happened in 2006. And I looked up his age. So he would have been 60. 60 years old. It is a lot younger. It's 14 years younger. It's not young, though. That was also the same year that he apparently had an affair with Karen McDougal. Both of these affairs, of course, happening shortly after his wife gave birth to the most recent kid. Not the first affair. He had many other affairs, by the way. Well, come on. I can't talk about this while the cat's... That is a very adorable
When
cat.
you talk about, grabbing him by the P word, I just had to grab my P word.
Oh my God. Anyway, so look, the only reason I think we need to see this is the question was, what would lead you to stop supporting him? And to her credit, she came up with something. The issue is, it is something that he has already done, which to me says, look, for 29 to 31% of the country, there is literally nothing he could do. They might play ball and come up with something, but it isn't actually a standard that he could break, and because in many cases he already has, and so.
No, then what you can keep going down the rabbit hole with this woman. You could have been like, well, what about a man who is on death row for a crime, for killing someone, 30 years ago when he was a lot younger. Like,
you can't blame him for something he did when he was a lot younger. Yeah,
exactly. So, and again, it feels ableist when you make fun of Trump supporters. It really does. But I think back to John's point, let's remember who is taking the most advantage of them, who is putting them at the most risk. It's the people who are lying to them, who are getting them to vote against their own interests, who feed them conspiracy theories nonstop online. Mm-hmm. Those are the people who are truly playing with their lives. We're just observing the ignorance, but I'm not trying to make money off of it.
Yeah, exactly. And look, one of the reasons I think that we need to take stock of this sort of person and the millions of them that there are in this country is I see some people getting very complacent about the polls and how Biden's like winning in the polls or whatever. Like, there's still debates and there's still months and things can change fast. They changed fast over the past few months. They could change back. And really, this isn't about what he could do to lose their support, because that's a nonsense conversation. You just saw it. It is nonsense.
Yes.
It's what he could do and not lose their support. You want to know a few of those things? All the stuff of the past few years that we reported on, obviously, the kids in cages, killing people abroad, all that stuff. But also... He's
impeached.
Being impeached, presiding over a pandemic where 120,000 plus people, just in the official count, have died, stoking racial tensions against people who are fighting for law enforcement reform. All these things recently, they did not get her to stop supporting him. His complete lack of interest in a pandemic that is still ravaging the country, which we're going to turn to in a minute, that didn't do it. Okay, let's read just a couple super chats before we jump into the next big topic. And there are a lot. I apologize, everybody. There's just so much news to get to. Let's see. Cloud says, I participated in the TikTok prank. I can attest. Okay. So we have some people in the crowd right now have done it. And Marty Hunt said 420,000 Kpop and TikTok users requested tickets.
Ooh.
Sure. I mean, he still could have had 10,000 there, or 20,000. Let's see. There's a lot of stuff about diapers in here. I blame Francesca. Clyde, thank you. You're the best. James Butler says, hey at TDR, love everyone at TYT, hope everyone is staying safe and sane in these chaotic times we're living in, waking up each day asking, damage report. Thank you, James. Fred says that dude can't spell FDA. Okay, but again, it's not about that individual. Like, this is about broad groups of people that I'm criticizing, not individuals. Okay. With that, why don't we jump to, I would say, the most important news going on right now. But we'll start off with Trump. I don't want to play much of what Trump said at his rally because it was nonsense. A lot of it was racist nonsense. But there was something that I thought was important, and that had to do with coronavirus and Trump's stance on testing. Take a look at this.
Here's the bad part. When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people. You're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please. They test and they test. We got tests that people don't know what's going on. We got tests. We got another one over here. The young man's 10 years old. He's got the sniffles. He'll recover in about 15 minutes. That's a case. Add up to it. That's a case. That's a case.
And so we left on the cheers because as he's attacking testing and joking about people having the sniffles, I wanted you to know that that was a big applause line. People loved that at the rally.
Yes, and if you think he's lying about trying to slow down testing, you clearly do not know this president. And again, back to the line of believe people when they tell you who they are. Mm-hmm. Trump has been telling us who he is from before the actual election. And I know a lot of people were like, well, he's not that bad. Well, he might be actually better when he assumes office. Oh, it's all for show. Even people on the left were like, nah, it's all for show. No, it's not. It's literally what he believes in. He is not intelligent enough to lie. Okay, remember that. He says exactly what's on his mind. He's asked multiple governments to intervene in our election, and one has already. And now another thing that happened last week was that we finally know, unredacted Mueller report, that Trump did know that WikiLeaks was going to release a big trove of documents, DNC documents. Hey, and encourage them and potentially coordinated with the Trump campaign about that release. Maybe there was an exchange with Assange about getting him amnesty or whatever. Like, this is already happening. So let's believe him. He cannot lie. He has blood on his hands. This is not a game at all.
It's not. I totally agree.
Not like John's background.
What?
Too many games.
This is a game. That's a game. I really like Everdell. Play Everdell. El Jitor is a game. That's a classic, by the way. That's been out for like 40 years. Very good. No, coronavirus and the pandemic are not a game. And so when Trump said slow down the testing, that's great drinking there, by the way. Best host
I didn't even
ever. But anyway, the reaction from the right was, oh, you lefties, he's just joking. Why are you pretending he's not? And I would just throw up a token. Too soon? Maybe don't joke about the thing that's still killing hundreds and hundreds of Americans literally every single day and has killed a couple Vietnams. Maybe don't joke about that. But here's the thing. Is he joking? Because he was asked about that comment this morning. Twice in this video you're about to see. And if he was just joking, he's done this before when asked about things he said. Whether he was joking or not, he'll say, you guys are just taking this too seriously. Look at him decline to do that.
On Saturday night, you said that you told your staff to slow the testing down to improve the numbers. Does that mean someone watching this right now on their local news is not going to get a test because you asked your staff?
We do more testing than any country in the world by far. 25 million tests. Other countries do 1 million. Every time you do a test, as you do more tests, it shows more and more cases. So we're so far advanced, both in terms of the quality and the amount. And we're doing all these tests, and it shows cases. If other countries aren't doing, or if we did slow it down, we wouldn't show nearly as many cases. You're showing people that are asymptomatic. You're showing people that have very little problem. You're showing young people that don't have a problem. But we're doing so much testing, 25 million tests. Nobody thought that was possible.
But did you ask to slow it down?
If it did slow down, frankly, I think we're way ahead of ourselves, if you want to know the truth. We've done too good a job. Because every time we go out with 25 million tests, you're going to find more people. So then they say, we have more cases in the United States. The reason we have more cases because we do more testing than any other country by far.
Really fast, fact check. No, the reason that we have more cases is because we have more cases. The reason we know is because we do more testing. But you can't have a case just because you have a test. You also have to have a case. And really fast, I just want to make sure we don't miss it. That second question was, did you order a slowdown of testing? And he said, if it did slow down. He didn't deny it. He didn't say I was just joking. He didn't say you're taking me too seriously. He evaded the question. That is
It's the same response that he had when he was asked whether he would accept foreign intervention and foreign assistance with an election. He was asked that point blank by George Stephanopoulos, and he had the same answer, which was, well, I don't think it would be a bad thing. Same with the tests. Well, I mean, it's not a bad thing to slow down the tests. He didn't say he did, but he said it wouldn't be a bad thing because too many tests lead to too many cases, which again, does not square with science. That's not how anything works.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how I can still be surprised by this guy, but I am. And I just want everyone to know and remember, if you have friends and family members who are in places that are reopening, if you are also in a state that's reopening, please be cautious. There are people who are dying. There are people's parents who are dying right now. wear your masks, wash your hands, do all those things. Still, like, I know it's hard to hold it together because there's no leadership right now, but we really need to.
Yeah, there's no leadership, and honestly, thank God that Trump admitted that and caused this firestorm, because that is at least causing the news to talk about it a little bit. I'm not saying that they don't talk about the pandemic at all, but everyone has moved on. I mean, the right moved on 2 months ago, but even the centrist media has largely moved on from taking it as seriously as it obviously demands we take it. That's one of the reasons I try to make sure that every single day we do talk about it, because just us ignoring it doesn't stop the deaths from happening. I guess
I just want to say I misspoke that I said that people's parents are dying. Apparently right now, a lot of the increase in cases are happening with people who are between like 20 and 30 years old. And we know that some of these second waves of illnesses can also differently affect different demographics. So I'm going to correct myself because a lot of young folks are also getting infected.
Exactly. And even if those people die at low rates, which hopefully will happen, it is still a devastating illness that can have very long-term health impacts that do not go away just when you get over it. You don't just get over it. It can, for some people, they'll have almost no effects. Some, it'll be a really bad flu-like experience, but for some, it will ravage their internal organs. It's so serious, and so that's why, like somebody said, will all politicians lie? Yes, and we should be angry about that, and the more consequential the lie, the more angry we should be. If he has ordered a slowdown in testing, he has already done everything he can to make this pandemic as devastating as possible. But if he is even now trying to stop the one thing that he begrudgingly, slowly, glacially did, which was slowly ramp up testing, if he ordered a slowdown, that should be a scandal like we've never had before. Now, really fast, I want to make clear that people know the good and the bad in this. Now, overall, death numbers nationally are still trending down. They're trending down very slowly. You're still going to have 600 or 700 people who die today, which is unthinkable, but they are trending down. But we don't know exactly how it's going to go in the next couple of weeks, because in some states, case numbers are going up. And I want to be clear. We made a video trying to bust the myth of the only reason we're seeing more cases is because we're seeing more testing, but like 12,000 people watched it, so just so annoying. But anyway, look at California. Look at the massive rise in the last week there. We didn't double our testing in California a week ago. It's rising faster than the increase in testing can explain. Take a look at this. Here you have Texas, massive rise over the last week. They did not double their testing. Take a look at Florida. Jesus. They did not. Now, we don't know about Florida hospitalizations because they're hiding that information. Usually that's not what you do when you're doing really well, but you can imagine. And then right here, Arizona 2, they didn't triple or quadruple or quintuple their testing. No, there are just more cases. And with more cases comes more hospitalizations, which you can see on the right-hand side. Texas shooting up there. You can see Arizona as well. Again, we don't have numbers for Florida, but this is a devastating pandemic still. It looks like nationally everything's kind of the same or trending down, but that's because some regions are seeing their caseloads drop precipitously and others are shooting up. The net effect looks like, it's all equal, but it's not. Depending on what city or state you are living in right now, you could be in a much improving or much worsening situation. And it's not just red states. It's predominantly red states, but I live in California. That is a very much blue state. And we are seeing the cases shoot up day by day.
And I mean, it's also worth it to mention, and as a Californian, and I see people who are from Kansas and other places, and I am really sorry. I mean, I can't, at least our governors are taking it a little bit more seriously, but just they don't deserve all of our praise because anyone can take this more seriously than Trump can. So I still think we need to hold them accountable. But I'm also slightly scared about, is there a halt on sort of internal flights? Can people from Arizona easily get to California? Absolutely.
Totally.
We aren't trying to, no state is actually safe from this. And we know that these super spreader events, I made fun of the rally, but it's not just the rally. The super spreader event could be one sick person going to a reopened restaurant, right? One sick person going to a reopened hair salon, whatever that is. And that can infect a lot of people. And granted, those people might be from out of state. I don't know. So
yeah, totally. As people start to travel more, you're gonna see it. I mean, Vegas is open right now. There are people playing blackjack as we film this, and they're not wearing masks. Yeah,
online poker, people, get addicted, lose your money.
Yeah, there's streams you can watch. It's fun. And by the way, can we just point out that, and I didn't catch your name, but somebody in the comments pointed this out. California, Arizona, Texas, Georgia, Florida. Yeah, what are those? Yeah, those are the hot states. They're the ones that are blowing up in cases right now. Look, as much as we joked about Trump's it'll go away once April hits and it gets warm, I at least had a little part of me that was like, well, hopefully, I mean, that would be cool. No, the hottest states are seeing the biggest rises. It's not a causal thing, I'm sure, but it isn't a solution either. Hydroxychloroquine isn't going to save you, and a little bit of a heat spike isn't going to save you either. It's real hot in California some days. It's not stopping the virus.
In Arizona, it is nothing but scorching. That's all it is right now.
I checked. Everyone in Arizona right now is on fire, and they also have coronavirus.
Oh, God, I really hope. Yeah, I'm dreading fire season here in California.
Oh, my God, yeah. That's literally the last thing we need. Yeah, when fires start ravaging the west side of the country and hurricanes start ravaging the east side of the country, that's going to be great times for mass migrations of people avoiding natural disasters. Okay, with that, let's change things up entirely. Probably the most significant story of the past few days has been the bizarre story of the firing of Berman. Geoffrey Berman, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, started on Friday. It's taken several days to get an idea of what is actually going on. We knew from the first moments that this was corruption, but exactly what form? So it started, we've got Trump firing Berman. Now this happens after Berman refuses to step down after Bill Barr attempted to oust him. And so if you watch this in real time, what you saw was a statement put out by the AG saying that Berman was going to resign, to which Berman responded socially, I never said I was going to resign, and I'm not going to. Then Barr goes to Trump, gets Trump to fire Barr, to which to fire Berman. Once Berman had gotten assurances somehow that the person he wanted to replace him would at least temporarily replace him, he accepted that he would step down. Then Trump denied that he had been the one to fire him and said it was all Barr's decision. Even though Barr can't unilaterally fire him, it would have been Trump. So the entire thing is a massive mess. But what we do know is that as of right now, there is no non-corrupt reason that Berman was pushed out in this fashion. The question really is, which particular corruption is this? Why did they push him out? Francesca, as you were watching this develop, what did you make of the entire thing?
I mean, it's the same thing we keep seeing with this administration is they fire anyone who's investigating them. Inspectors general have been fired. Oversight of the stimulus money for all different kinds of things. And I hate that sort of middling NPR questioning of can he do this? Is this legal? He did. William Barr is his personal watchdog. He's doing it. Anyone who's investigating Giuliani, Ukraine, anything that has happened with his former staffers, campaign staffers, whether that's Manafort or not Cohen, obviously Cohen, he sang like a canary, but anyone else, they're going after. And so my question going forward truly is, if this president is in office or not, is what can we do about it? What happens when your Justice Department is compromised? Mm-hmm. Do you just throw your hands up, or do we have another sort of stopgap measure, a safety valve that can be put into place when you have something like this?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the weeding out that we've seen throughout this year, often sort of a secondary or tertiary story. It's not usually the biggest news story, but gradually the inspectors general being weeded out. They're turning on the attorneys too. You had Michael Atkinson, intelligence community inspector general,
yes,
involved in the whistleblower complaint that led to impeachment. Steve Linick, who was apparently investigating Mike Pompeo for potentially a number of different things, all of them incredibly dirty. With Berman, it's really just a question of what was it that he was investigating or had investigated that led to him being ousted. There's no, he just was terrible at his job and so it was time for him to be pushed on. In fact, apparently, before he was sort of forced to resign, Barr apparently offered him other positions, like potentially heading up the SEC or something like that, which is not what you do when a person is utterly incompetent. It's what you do when you want to get them out of that position, and hopefully get them to go quietly, by the way. But he had apparently been involved in some cases involving Turkish President Erdogan. He had also been involved in the investigation into Giuliani and Ukraine, and as you pointed out, Cohen as well, although I believe he personally recused himself from that case, but his office was involved in it. So it could have been retaliatory. It could have been to stop one of the investigations that's going on right now. What's really bizarre is he's a donor to Trump's campaign and a former colleague of Rudy Giuliani. Now, I understand he's a New York attorney. That doesn't necessarily mean that they were best friends or anything like that. But it's not like this guy is some stereotypical Trump hater. And still, the fact that he might have been willing to do his job looks like it was enough for him to get pushed out. And look, this looks bad for Barr, and I know people were saying, look, Barr should be forced out or something like that, to which I think it was it Nadler who was like, what's the point? We could try to get rid of him, but the Senate's never going to allow it, which, could we just take a moment and recognize how awesome our system of government is? That, like, the AG could be utterly corrupt, but, Mitch McConnell's corrupt too, so what are you going to do about it? Yeah, but that seems to be where we're at.
Absolutely. I mean, and this is like what I really hope we don't see going forward. I mean, eye on the prize, we have to, get Trump out of office. But I think this is where, progressives can really put our pressure on, is that we need to hold everyone accountable. I don't want any of this like post George W. Bush, all water under the bridge type stuff when it comes to, human rights violations in Iraq or Afghanistan. I know Obama wanted to move forward and beyond that. Like, no, we're not moving forward. All these corrupt fools need to be held accountable for it. And yeah, lock them up if need be. Like, I am tired, because if you do not hold folks accountable, it will keep happening again and again and again. All these clowns, all this cast of clowns, they will come back. You think they won't if we vote him out? They'll come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look at Barr. Barr was wreaking havoc in the 90s. And then, he gets forced out and he bides his time, and, Seinfeld comes and goes and other shows. That's how I mark time. And but I say that, like, huge spans of time come and go. Multiple Star Trek series. But then he comes back because he's still there. John Bolton came back, even though apparently he had, Trump didn't respect him. He still hired him. Anyway, I have the same fear. I mean, getting rid of the inspectors general, now trying to weed out anyone in these investigative bodies in the states, so corrupt. And it's what I've been saying for a few months now. Like we spent Trump's first term talking about all of the corrupt and illegal acts that were revealed to us. The second term, we're going to be silent because we're not even going to know about the corruption. We're not going to know about the crimes. Anyway.
I really hope you're wrong. But I also think that I know it's hard to care about these kinds of, government bodies because we feel like we've been let down by them for so long, and that they don't actually take up the issues that we care about. Even in places like the FBI, or the CIA, I hate the FBI. Why don't, I remember COINTELPRO. I mean, I don't actually, but I know about COINTELPRO. Why do I like the FBI? But then you realize that anyone who's raised any red flags about possible foreign meddling and intervention has been sidelined, has been put on desk duty in the, bottom 5th floor or whatever, lower level 5, or has been completely pushed out. That is not the kind of intelligence agency that I would like, even if I don't believe in this intelligence agency.
Exactly. Okay, Francesca, do you have 3 more minutes?
Of course.
Okay, let's just do one more, just because it's produced and Marissa cut the video. So we're going to end on a light note. This is going to be, look, if you want your politics, and indeed your political commentary, to be highbrow, I hope you enjoyed the show. You should go now. But let's play this and have a little bit of fun. The Lincoln Project is back with another ad. Really, over the weekend they had like 6. I'm going to play one for you because this seems like if Trump sees it, ooh, he's not going to have a good day.
Hey, Donald, your campaign manager told you 1 million fans wanted to come to your first big rally. Turnout in Tulsa? A dud. You've probably heard this before, but it was smaller than we expected. It sure wasn't as big as you promised. Honestly, we're not surprised. We've seen that you're shaky. Can't keep your polls up. And it's getting worse. You talk a big game.
The event in Oklahoma is unbelievable. The crowds are unbelievable. They haven't seen anything like it.
And can't deliver. Sad, weak, low energy. Just like your presidency. Just like you.
Can I just say that, like, we like to, you're a child and then you grow up. We all grew up, but no, not really. We're all looking for an excuse to talk about people's genitals. That's all. Like, even in politics, we just want to joke about sex, basically.
I'm so guilty of that. Oh, I love the euphemisms in there.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard this before. It was smaller than I expected.
They zoom in on the hands. We're a ridiculous, immature species, is what we are.
No. This is where we are in hell, John. You play the game. He wears diapers. His hands are small. Show us the undies.
Oh, God. I was
Show
really
us the
hoping.
undies.
Don't make that a hashtag, people. No, show us the undies.
Hashtag diaper Donnie. I saw that. Hashtag
No.
diaper Don.
No.
Get the rumors popping. Get the rumors K-popping. I'm serious though. Like, if there's any joy, if November comes and we are left with 4 more years of an utter police state and we go full, like Egypt on this, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we go full Putin, we go full Russia, at least we will know that he showed his undies on national television.
Okay,
That's
so
all.
look, historians will someday look back and they will ask, how did the great Damage Report Civil War begin? It began today because she started hashtag show us your undies. My counterattack will be this. K-poppers, please hijack that hashtag and just put K-pop up. I don't want to see his undies, please.
Boo.
But anyway, to the we just want to joke about dicks. I want to read you this. This is by Rick Wilson, someone who I never want to read a quote from him, but he's involved with Lincoln Project, so this is what he had to say. The Trump campaign's limp performance last night in Tulsa certainly got the attention of the nation. His problems seem to be mushrooming, and he's clearly suffering from some serious electoral dysfunction. What is wrong with us as a species?
Yes.
Okay, so but look, obviously, Francesca, I agree with you. It's all funny. But can we just recognize what has been normalized? He stood on that debate stage like 3 years ago, and he talked about his junk, and now we're all talking about people's junk. We have descended. We've descended from here down to crotch level as a country.
We were already there, John. You're just slow to catch up.
Yeah.
We've been at crotch level since this guy started running for office. Let's go there. Let's have some fun with it. That's what I'm saying. Fun with your fascism. Mm-hmm. Show us the undies. Diaper Donnie. Let's get it. I'm serious.
Let's get it popping.
Just give me something. I love that though. Mushrooming. Oh my God.
No.
That's so funny.
Oh God. I don't want to throw up on my show, but I got close there with the.
Someone tweeted something at me that I cannot unsee.
What's that?
It was a pantsless Donald Trump. I've talked about pantsless Donald Trump for a long time, and it was, and whoever you are, you probably watch this show, and I hate/love you
for making it.
For making it.
Yeah, it's just a dagger in her mind now. Anyway, Francesca.
Remember the naked Donald statue? In fact, that is the one statue I believe we should never topple. We should erect, and sorry, I don't mean erect. I mean, we should.
Mushroom cloud.
We should put up that naked Donald statue instead of all these Confederate soldiers. In fact, keep the horse. The horse had nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. And just place naked Donnie on top.
Yeah. There's concerns about chafing, but It's a good idea. Let's run with it. Or let's gallop with it, so to speak. Anyway, Francesca, thank you as always. But not just as always, especially today. This is probably my favorite show with you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, John. And follow me at Franny Fio. Watch the Bitchuation Room. Listen to the Bitchuation Room. John's going to be on next week, so
Nice.
look out for that.
I can't wait. Thank you. And have a good day. Stay safe out there.
Too. Stay safe.
Okay, everybody, we are super over, so I am not going to be able to go through everything. I really apologize, but I'm going to try to work backwards a little bit through the super chats. There was just so much news. Okay, Savitas Vox says, monetizing propaganda needs to be made illegal again. Bad actors and their board of trustees should be criminally accountable. The idea of a corporate veil is toxic and must be abolished. Yeah, I mean, look, it's complex, obviously, but I think you're probably alluding to social media there. Certainly there's a lot that needs to be done. Because of the stakes. Calypso says, John, are you aware of Cody Johnson shows some more news? It's fantastic. I'd love to see him as a guest host on the Damage Report or TYT sometimes. Yes, I am familiar with it. I don't know Cody, but feel free to suggest to him that he come on the show. I think that would be a great idea. We're always looking to have new people on. Sketchy Mom Fleming, thank you for that. I want to recognize the people that agreed with me that Francesca has gone too far. She's gone to a place that I cannot follow. Lauren says, stop it, Francesca. And had a crying face. I felt the same way. Ernie says, we need Franny and Anna. Sorry, not sorry, John. Okay, you should be sorry. Thanks a lot. Let's see. Fred says, I'm sorry, they can't spell FDA, amending his previous super chat. Thank you. Gary, thank you for your super chat. Sean says, so less cops, then less arrests, so less crime. That is the theory. Rhapsodic says, show Oklahoma's numbers, please. So I do want to do that because I hadn't been following Oklahoma, but, well, look, the overall numbers are lower. We're talking about a spike to 500 rather than like 3,000, but it is a much smaller state. So per capita, yeah, that's a scary change over time. I mean, they'd been looking at 100 to 200 cases for 4 months, and then all of a sudden it more than doubles. So that is scary. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, let's see. David, thank you for your super chat. JHWH Gadol says, I'm Austrian, but still know that Matt Gaetz is a tool. 100%. Hilltop Ironwork says, I know you only have an hour and can't cover everything going on, so just a quick reminder that it's 100 degrees in Siberia. Yeah, so I did see that. I think I tweeted about it this morning, actually. Yeah, devastating. And it's becoming more common that we're seeing, records being set like that. Let's see. Amanda says, what's the difference between a lentil and a chickpea? Trump never paid to have a lentil on his face. You're going to need to fill in the blanks there yourself, but ew. Miranda says, just signed up on Twitch and subscribed to TYT so I can stream you guys everywhere in the house. Love Franny Monday. Thank you, Miranda. Really appreciate that. Parker says, the Damage Report is the perfect show to listen to while at work. Shout out to fellow essential workers who are TYT fans. That's awesome, Parker. Thank you so much. Ghost Dog says, Diaper Don, best diapers, money to buy. Yeah, I'm uncomfortable about it. Corey, thank you for your hashtag. Fred says, reminder, Trump wears diapers and it's okay. 100%. Adrian says, I can't with the Trump diapers, you had me rolling. Exactly. There should be no shame whatsoever. He also needs to start being honest. There's a lot of messages about diapers. Patrick says, dope background, John. Thank you. I put it together myself over the years of board games that myself and my wife like to play. Let's see. Justin Matthews says, happy Monday, Franny and John. Hashtag drink drinks two-handed. Exactly. Zane says, Johnny Pie is getting high in stimulants. Yeah, I saw someone say, think of your heart, drink vegetable juice. Is there actually strong evidence that energy drinks are bad for your heart? I have heard that before. If somebody can link that, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Weena Jensen says, I need you to say my name. Well, ask and I shall deliver. Chris Hughes says, the White Lives Matter trend on Twitter got taken over by Kpop. 100%. That is indisputable. Adam says, hey, John, TDR is best when Francesca's on. Also, please tell Brittany she's cute again. She missed it last time. Much love from Jacksonville. Brittany, you're cute and you know it. Thank you. Thank you, Adam. Nick says, Trump is losing support. Look at the polls. Totally. But polls that can change that much in 3 months can change back in 3 months. That's my fear. Let's see. Ryan says, people were there. They were just dressed as blue chairs. Yeah, I thought that was weird costume choice, but they did it. Torn says, a tip to not see Trump in undies. I've already seen a fake meme where he's nude, and the idea made me wish I was watching The Last Airbender movie. I like the dig on The Last Airbender live-action movie there. This thing on the left says, it's Franny Feel Monday. Always good to see a fellow progressive Bay Area native. John, have you tried the Ultra Rosa or Fiesta flavors? They are great. I assume you mean for Monster? I have not. I've tried a few. Let's see. One or two more. DVDV says, did they hire Sue Sylvester for this? Awesome, nah. I don't know which one you're referring to, but I appreciate the reference. Thank you. Jess Ortega at one point said, I definitely just spat Red Bull all over the floor thanks to you two. Probably thanks to Francesca, but thank you. A New Hope KMS says, so needed this today. Things have gotten so depressing and frustrating. Laughter is the best medicine. Thank you, John and Franny. No, thank you. A New Hope, and thank you, everyone. We had a big audience today. Biggest ever, actually, I think. And so thank you for joining us. We appreciate your support, whether in the form of super chats or membership, but also just being here. We need that support too. Francesca and I, like a lot of you, have been under lockdown for literally months now. I haven't really seen anyone in about 100 days now, other than my wife and our dogs. And so it's good to always have you here in the morning, and I hope that I provide that same thing for you. Thank you to everybody who sent in super chats. Unfortunately, we are way over, and I have a congressional candidate, Donna Imam, that I have to interview, so I do have to run, but thank you, and I will be reading all of them. And so with that, we're launching into a big new week. Hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. We got election coverage tomorrow night, by the way, the all-important New York primary as well as other elections, so definitely tune in for that. And thank you, everybody. I'll see you soon. Stay safe out there.